Hey, it's day 21. Apparently we're 4 days away, but then Christmas Day is the 25th, right? Or is it the 24th? I'm so confused now. I don't even know where we're at in this calendar. We either have 4 days left or 5 days left of videos. I can't remember. Maybe I'll come up with a Boxing Day one. I don't know. I'm pretty exhausted, so probably not. Last night I crocheted a hat. We did the crochet cloche, and that will be linked somewhere in one of these videos, either in it if I can figure it out or down in the info below. You got a free download code for the hat at Black Sheep Fiber Emporium with that one, the hat pattern. Tonight I just knit up just a plain old stocking cap, but tonight's embellishment, which you will soon see, is how to embroider this lovely little tree onto your hat. And we've added beads tonight. I'm very excited. I'm very happy with how this turned out. So, you know, again, embellish your knits. You can very well go buy a hat and just embellish it with I think I used 2 yards, maybe 3 yards of yarn in brown and green. And then maybe 30, 40 beads. So it doesn't have to be this huge effort. And I sat here and finished it in about 30 minutes. Maybe 35 minutes to embroider this on this cap. So, you know, there's simple things you can do for these last minute days and for last minute gifts. This, well, I think I'm going to give both hats to my daughter. She goes hiking a lot, so she'll probably be pretty happy to have both hats. And she has not been given. And I don't think she's ever received knitwear from me, but she's always happy to receive it. So that's what these two are destined to be. So I just quickly sketched out the tree design that I want, and what I'm going to do is treat, and I've just done a little start to get us going here. I'm treating the knit stitches like a cross stitch grid, so that and in fact the stem of this tree is going to be cross stitch. Now I have to use a yarn, or it's a really good idea to use a yarn that's similar to the same material that's in the hat and also of approximately the same size. Just so, or bigger, but just so that those stitches will float on top and not hide behind. I didn't feel like doing a duplicate stitch, and I frankly don't love I have trouble getting my duplicate stitches to stay in the top. So I have decided to do other stitches, and on the glove that we did a few days ago I chose to do a chain stitch, and on this garment I'm going to do a cross stitch, and then it's like a little back stitch, and then we'll do some little V stitches to do the branches, or to do these little ends of the branches. So the first thing I'm doing is a cross stitch where I go diagonally up each stitch using my darning needle, and then down across that stitch to the lower half and back up, so that every knit stitch becomes, actually, just about every knit stitch, and maybe every other knit stitch, becomes a cross stitch. So there, and then down. Yeah, I guess it is. Oh, that one is. I think I'm a little too far there. Every knit stitch becomes a cross stitch. Nope, that's not doing it either. Ooh, I'm having trouble myself. I sat here and did this on the sofa. Alright, so we're up there. I'm going to go diagonally up a stitch and then down two bars. Down 2 bars. There we go. That's more like it. And then up 2 bars. So see how you've got bars in between those stitches? Up 2 bars. Down here. Up 2 bars. Oh, did we not get down there? And then down to this stitch. And back up again. There's our X. And it is stretchy, so you kind of have to go cautiously. Now we're going to go up 2 bars and down. Oop, up 2, down. Up there. 2 bars. So there's our X's for this tree branch. Right in there. And I'm going to keep going. just pulling gently, because I can separate these stitches quite easily if I pull them tightly. So I'm just doing this gently so that they float on the top. And down. And back up. Looks like that one snuck past a bar, but I think it's going to be okay. Oh no, it's not going to be okay. Nope, we're going to fix that one. The good news is it's pretty easy to take out when you make a mistake. There. It's this one that seems to be. No, this one's okay. There. There. Gone my needle. I could have used a shorter one, but I didn't want to run out of brown mid cross stitching. There we go. Back in. All right, let's make sure that we're here. So we only went up one bar last time, so I'm going to go down 2 there, and then make sure I go up 2 over here and up 2 there. That's more like it. I don't know why it's being difficult. There. And this is not meant to be perfect or fancy. It's a really rustic stitch. Right, and then am I about as tall as I want my hat to be? I think about what this is going to look like on. I'm going to push my hands in there. I think I can go up a couple of more stitches. So 2. And then across and up 2. And down and up 2. There we go. And again, notice I'm doing this loose so that we don't just hide these cross stitches into the fiber. Down 2 that time, and then across and up, just counting those 2 bars every time. And then over there, up 2, and then down. And then at the very tip of this tree, and I think I've about hit it, I'm going to do just a little V-stitch into the middle and back down again, and then over here, just to give an ending and not just an X to the top of the tree, so it looks like the top of a log. Okay, so that's it for the brown. I can secure the end, so I'm going to go in and do my little pseudo knot where I splice into the yarn, do a little back stitch so that it makes a little bit of a knot just to give me some strength here. And the second one. And I'll hide my ends just carefully down this side. This is not going to be fancy hiding because there's not enough brown to hide it. Oh, and I didn't bring my scissors with me, so I'm going to do the thing that everybody tells me not to do. Oh, this is tough little yarn. It's too bad that I happen to have the brown. It happens to be a discontinued yarn, so I can't get it anymore. But boy, that's a nice ply. That would make great kid sweaters. All right, so we have our trunk of our tree. And then the next thing I'm going to do is the branches of the tree. And I've now made this trunk kind of bigger than I anticipated. But here is my bottom branches. Okay, and they go up at a diagonal. These sort of swooped. These go up and these are going to look straighter, but I think they'll be fine. So I have gone up and over. I'm going to go up and over. And every time I do a little back stitch, and you'll see it's not quite a back stitch. But it's not a running stitch either because I want to make sure these line up on this side. I go up 5 stitches and then I'm going to do it again. But let's just double check how many stitches I am up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Well, that's convenient. So I may do a little bit. I didn't like the 5 because I didn't think it was going to give me enough for the V's. So I'm going to go 6, but we may make adjustments as we get toward the top. So I'm going to go up this stitch diagonally and then up again here and do a little back stitch. So like that. And then I come out here, go up a stitch, and these 2 bottom ones are going to be even, but the next one after it will go in one. There, back stitch. And if you can pierce through that yarn as you go through, it's even better. There. That'll help line it up. Here. And then we go across underneath the, even with the bars, underneath the trunk. And then we're going to go back down again. So diagonal down that next stitch. And across the next one. Up. And down another one. And up, down. Make sure and pierce that one this time. Just to get them to line up. It's maybe a little bit of a split stitch, but not quite as planned as that. There. Oh, I've gone one too far, so we're going to just go back to that one and let that one stay. There. Alright, so I've got 2 branches. This time, I'm going to move myself over one, but also up 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go up here. That looks about the right distance. But I'm going to move in just a bit of a stitch. Just half a stitch. So there's the first 2 bottom ones. I've come in half a stitch, and again, I'm going to go up in a diagonal manner. There. There. So let's see if I got that angle right. Oop. A little too much. Let's go back. I went up 2 bars instead of 1. There. And there. Turn this upside down. Up a half a bar. There and back. There. And then I've got a half of one here. It's the other half of that one. And then across, directly across. Right. I'm going to try and position it so it's under the cross stitch. There. And then back down. Go back down. Oh, let's not do that. I don't want to go down a whole stitch. We'll do it the same. Try to make this reflexive, so I'm going to go down half a stitch. And then the whole stitch. There. Nope, looks like we're going straight here. Let's see if we can get that angle. A whole stitch. Back. One. Down there, and then we're going to come up just a half a stitch. And that is the third branch. And again, doesn't need to be perfect. A diagonal is plenty. There's that. In fact, it looks like I've got a little bit more of a diagonal there than normal. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're gonna go here, but I'm gonna take it in another half stitch. So there, let's see. Looks like that would be the next one. Whoops. Go in a whole stitch this time. There. Let's get up 6. There. Oh my goodness, I find my spot and then my needle comes out. Alright, we're here. We want to go a whole stitch, so we're going to go up here. And we want to be about there. Right there. And then again, I'm going to go up, diagonal, and back down. Perfect, this will line up because I have one more branch to do. I'm going to go across, directly across, there, and then down. Even? Yes, it does. Alright, now we're going to go up to the last branch. And I'm going to take that one up about that far and in another half of a stitch. Out, and then right to the top of that V. And out, down, another section, and down again. Okay, there's the outline of our tree right there. All right, so then I have these little V stitches. And we're going to go down, and I'm going to start where I left off. So we'll go down. Whoop. Let's actually put the thing in frontwards and up into here, and I'm going to pierce that stitch, or pierce that piece of thread there, and then back down and make a little V. And do not pull tight. The key is loose stitches. That one kind of pulled a little tight. There. Looks like this stitch will only get 2 of the little V's. That's fine. There. You know how always things on paper don't always come out the same. There. And then over to the other side. There. So there's our little branches. I'm going to do the same here, go there and back to the center, and then make sure and come up through this. Just split that yarn. There. Give it a little poof. And then there. There's a branch. And we'll come up to this one, and down to that one. There. Back in. So, there you go, the top of your tree. And then we're going to skip down and do the same thing to the next one down. There. And up to there, back out, just making little V's with the yarn. And they don't even have to match. Now I'm just sort of freehanding this and angling them so that they make the V's but they avoid each other. There's that one, and then we'll come out to this one. I'll come over here. And it's, you know, the back's not tidy, doesn't matter. Okay, come out to here, and back to the V. Let's just put that there, and then down. And then the next one, there, come down, go out, and back in. Well, that one's quite the long one, but let's see if we like the looks of it. Yeah, see? Just forming a, like a little rough, rustic tree. We're gonna put this one here. We may have to go back with another yarn, so I'm just gonna... That looks like a good spot to go in there, and then here. Branch. There. And then up to the next stitch. Make sure I'm pulling that taut. Yep, I am. There. I think I might even tuck in a fourth one on this one, since we're getting long enough. And again, I'm going to loosen it if I pull too tight. There. And that V-stitch is just, as long as you keep it nice and loose, it works great. Back over here. There. We have our branches. It definitely stands out, these straight stitches, better if you stay out of the grooves. So when you try to push yourself or push these stitches in a straight line, for example, that one's gone in a rather straight line, so I've got to be a little more careful that I keep the yarn looser so that it shows up there. And it looks like this is going to be our last stitch, but see our tree? It's perfectly fine. Now, I did have an idea that I could add beads to this tree. I don't know. I think that my daughter would prefer it rustic, so I may just leave it, but I'm going to go in and I'll show you what it looks like if we add some Christmassy beads. I will do those with thread, not with this yarn, just because they're a little bit smaller, and in order to get the sparkle that I want, I had to pick smaller beads. Let's just tie this one off and I'll get a new one out. So there we go. There's our tree, a little bit more green, and of course, I left my scissors in the other room. There, that one pulled a little nicer. So you can tell something about a yarn when it breaks easily. It's a good indicator that you've got a lighter ply on that yarn, and it may not last as long, and it also may not be as durable when you wear it. So it's a nice thing to try. Although it's interesting because Donegal tweed breaks quite easy, soft Donegal. And I find that it doesn't pill. In fact, I had a friend wear a crocheted garment in to visit me the other day, and it looked remarkably well. And she said she wears it all the time, so it's good to know the tweed is both soft and wears well. And there's that one. I'm going to go to the other side. All right, in that little break, I went and grabbed my scissors, I grabbed some thread, and I grabbed a variety of beads that I have laying around, but still rustic because this is going to be for my daughter. I don't want her to make it too sparkly, even though I'd lean towards sparkly this year. So I'm going to finish embroidering this, and then I'm going to come back with, pull out my thread, dig out a variety of the beads, and just embellish it a little bit. She's more of a rustic girl, but I don't think these are all too sparkly, nor do they make it too Christmassy, which is good, because I would like her to wear this more than just for the holidays. There, last branches. I know we've been talking at the store for a while now about getting in wool crewel yarns, and I have a source. It's just in the era of COVID's, saving up enough money to get it. But the fact that I'm enjoying embroidering with this yarn so much says to me that I think that I should definitely keep it in mind because it's fun. All right, that's the top of that branch. So we're going to go over and do this one. Oh, let's just come up from here. There. And then out. And let's go back a little bit. There. Out there. And one more branch. Basically what I did is have the branch come out wherever I had made a back stitch, which worked well. Made it easier to tell me where to go. Okay, the tree, I'm going to leave this to hide later. I'll just leave a little bit of a tail on it, but not too much. The tree is done, barring hiding my ends under there. But there's our little tree, right there. And then I'm just going to sew in some beads. I've got some little green beads. I've got an off-white yellowish tone, and then I have a brown. And the final one. And then I'm going to just use this green sewing thread. This is just a regular sewing thread. And because I had it handy, I do have some embroidery needles for sale, but I don't want to open those up. So I'm going to use a between. I do know the between will fit both through the beads and through this thread. So, and I like working with teeny tiny needles. These are actually my favorite ones to work with because I can get teeny tiny stitches. All right. Well, especially when I'm quilting. Now there is one downside, the threading. My old eyes. I can't see the hole like I used to. Might have to invest in a needle threader. There we go. I got it. Okay. And you know, if these fall out at some point of this hat, it's fine. Just gonna take a few off. I'm not gonna work with too many. I'll tie this back up. And I don't know if you've ever used one before, but I'll tell you what, a needle or a bead mat, sticky bead mat, wonderful for you working with beads. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, there's a few of the yellow, and finally a few of the brown. Let's just undo one side, not the knot this time. Whoop! Always when you work with beads, right? And hence the benefit of the sticky bead mat. There we go, off to one side. All right, so I have my needle, I have my beads. I'm gonna sprinkle these out on the ends of the branches, but to get started, I'm gonna just do a little back stitch across just to secure this, because your normal sewing knot may not hold. Although, you know what? It's doing pretty good. I've gone through, because these betweens are so small, I've gone around and through one of the branches. So we're going to pick up a yellow one, my little short little needle, and sew that onto the branch. And then I'll go to a new spot. And pick up whatever comes handy, sort of a random selection. And sew that into another spot. Let's do it right side up though. Come on, you. There. Looks like I'm going to work upside down this time. Through there, and then we'll go up to where they join. There. Grab another yellow one. Brown one this time. See? Just a few little beads make all the difference. Gives it a little bit of sparkle and pizzazz. And that stitch. And I'm just going to keep these out on the branches. I could put some up on the stalk, and I'm also not going to put a bead at the end of every tendril. Oh, let's do another brown one. There. And then we'll go over and do the other side. There. There. And then I'll grab a green one. Two-handed operation. This one I'm going to put right up next to the stalk or the trunk. But absolutely just sort of randomly placing these. And I'm not even going in or out with any special knot. I'm just looping them on their sides. And some of them are sitting upright, some of them are sitting flat, and that's perfectly fine. Because it's just a little decorative embellishment. If I wanted to, I could have put little charms in here, like Christmas ornaments. I could come up with a little star on the tree. But I think this time we'll just keep it simple. There, another green one perhaps. Go here. And then we'll go up to the next branch. And go to the tip. Not that tendril. There. So see? Just a little bit of sparkle. To embellish your tree. This is why beading needles are long. We'll put one in between those two. And I'm doing little back stitches as I go. If this were to break, it would very likely all fall off. So it's not a bad idea to just put a little knot in every once in a while to stem the flow if something falls off. There. just trying to keep this as random as possible. At the rate I'm going though, I might need to dump some more beads out. But really, this is all there is to it. You can have, and the thing that occurred to me, like I'm a knitter, and so I like banged this hat out in a couple hours. I knitted this hat up. But if you don't want to knit the hat and you just want to embellish something, you can absolutely do this on a sweater, a purchased hat, a pair of fingerless gloves, scarf, and you don't have to make the base piece. You can use it. You can buy a plain one. Like for example, I've got a little T-shirt on here. You can embellish it using the same techniques. Just a little bit of yarn, match the fiber that the garment's made out of, and the size. And honestly, if it's a lot of the purchased garments are out of a lace weight yarn, and I'll bet that even using a worsted or a DK on that would be fine. It's going smaller that can be problematic. There. Green. Put a little knot in, just as another anchor. There. So there you go. And then we're going to go up again. Anchor that, and then up to the next frond or branch. But every, I don't know, 3-4 beads. I mean, if you wanted it not every time, I don't think that would be a bad idea by any means. I'm just doing it every once in a while. Hats especially don't get washed very often unless something muddy happens. Around here I've got hats in the closet that I've probably never washed. Over there trying to escape. Still trying to escape. Let's actually put a knot in this. Oh, looks like I've run out of brown and almost yellow, so we'll get some more of those out. This doesn't just turn to green. Another knot. For safety's sake. A yellow one I'll grab here. More brown. Nope, I don't have green. More yellow. That one's escaping me. We've run out of brown. Let's grab that one and get it back on here. here. Running out of thread, so I'm going to have to end this here in a minute, but that's good because definitely will lock in those beads even better if I switch threads. No neighboring connectivity. Not this. A couple of times. And back. Not it again. Alright, well the rest of this tree is more of the same. Stitch in the beads, hide the ends, secure the ends, and I'll do that with this here. But really, it's not even too awfully untidy in the back. I'm going to do the rest of this off camera, and we'll show you the finished product in the photos.